Okay, so today I want to talk a little bit about our new discipline path for the game Star Wars: The Old Republic. Basically, what it is a lot of people seem to be confused about how to respec and what builds to use for what you're doing, and there's a lot of debate still seemingly about what to do with the discipline path. And what Bioware did was they got rid of the old trees from the 1.0, 2.0 place of the game. They got rid of hybrids, they got rid of all of that. And how they did it was the introduction of the discipline paths. I'm going to abandon this one so you see kind of from scratch. So this is the discipline selection for the mercenary. You'll see the bodyguard, arsenal, and what used to be, at least it looks like it used to be, pyro. What you do is when you load in, you pick your path, and you decide what you want to do. So a bodyguard is heals, arsenal, and the other two are DPS. And so you kind of pick, and you can choose and see what their main abilities are. You can even inspect the thing and go from here, and you can see what they each are. But the one you decide on is what's going to be what you play and what's going to be what you roll. So I'm going to go healer with this tune because all my tunes are healers. So I'm going to commit to it. Hit commit. And then now what it does is you see the left side. These are all the abilities, and this tune is level 60. So you see all of the abilities that Bioware gives you automatically. There's no longer a thing where you spec into it or you put points into your main spec. That's gone. Whatever spec here you pick, Bioware automatically gives you these abilities that you see. That's just done. So that part makes respecing really fast. So there's no more hybrid. Hybrid's gone. Where they got a little tricky is in the utility point. So what they did was, remember the old class tree system, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of little detailed abilities that people would deviate from, and people would debate on which one to use. Some of them were PvP specific. Seemingly some of them were really good for PvE. And so people would, go and put their extra points into these kinds of abilities. So what they did was they took out most of those and separated them and made them utilities. They also, just so you know, removed some and made some new ones. So each advanced class might have some tweaks to that. So for the mercenary and for all the classes, no matter what spec you pick, the utilities stay the same. If you see here, I'm swapping on the left side between the spec. Utilities stay exactly the same. So everybody now has the same pool of utilities to pick from, and it varies how many you can get by tier. So the first skillful one, you can get 3. So say, for instance, I want to vent more heat when I do something. I'm going to pick that one. I like power barrier, which generates a power barrier that interrupts or increases damage reduction by 1% for 15 seconds. Stacks up to 5 times. That's a good one. I also like the increased endurance and the healing received. So once you pick your 3 in skillful, you go down to master. I'm going to get the cure one that buffs my cure a little bit, and I'm going to get the one that buffs my hydraulic override, because these raids are a lot of mobile raids going on. You can kind of run around a lot more when you buff your hydraulic override. But there's a lot of different options. So you can see I got 3 in skillful, 2 in masterful, and I think heroic gives me 2. I'm going to get this one that makes unload and progressive scan. You can do it on the run. And then I'm going to get this one that lets me that kind of lowers the damage that I take in. So you get 3, 2, and 2. Once you pick your utilities, you commit again, and then that's your spec. That's what you got to do. You see my healing abilities are there. Again, that's just what Bioware did with the discipline path. They made it a little more simple. They made it all basic for respecing too as well. You just pick your what you want to do, DPS or heals, and then what tree you want, and then you pick the abilities you want on the right side. Every advanced class shares the same abilities as far as I know. And that's where you can customize a little bit, and you can swap. If you're going to raid, if you're going to go to a PvP, before you go into PvP, you can pick PvP specific abilities like this one. On the Merc, my power shield, energy shield now further decreases activation pushback by 30% and makes you immune to interrupt. So that's a really good PvP utility. I would never need it in a raid though. And again, you can just abandon immediately and swap. You can swap classes and swap specs very quickly. So it's kind of a cool thing in a way. It got rid of hybrids a lot of people didn't like, but it made it easier for people just to kind of spec in, and then pick the utilities. There's no more hybrid. There's no more trees. This is now all discipline path. Predetermined discipline path. Hope this proves helpful to somebody. I hope you guys have a good time with the game, and as always,